first this was totally my thing. And I'm like, I'm going to add this on for my photography clients. And then COVID hit. And so he wasn't working for like a year and a half. And he's like, oh, I'll help you with this. And he actually has an art degree. And he was like, wait, this is like really cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like basically surpassing me in this. He's so good at it. Like, I see if this like blows up, he's probably going to just run most of it for me. And he's probably going to be like the head honcho. I'll be working for him. He would love that. Oh, now he's going to hear this and be like, oh, that's right.
we can edit that part out, Brittany.
Yeah, edit that out. He's okay. He does what I tell him to. Just put that in.
So we have Brittany on our episode today. And Brittany, I have no idea how to say your last name, so I just call you Brittany Lo, which I know is kind of what you go by anyway. But can you introduce yourself? You can say your full last name.
Yeah, my last name is Lo Floral. You probably can't say that unless you've practiced quite a bit. So everyone calls me Lo, so Brittany Lo. I'm a Las Vegas elopement photographer, and I recently started Little Lo because of my 3 kids, my little Los, wedding bouquet preservation company. And it's like my new baby, my new pride and joy, and I'm having so much fun with it.
Cool. Let's talk a little bit about what it is you do with the bouquet preservation and how it started. What made you think of this idea and how it's progressed?
Yes. I mean, so I've been in the wedding industry for 5 or 6 years now, and I was always getting the same question from my brides, like, what the heck do I do with my bouquet? And as you know, in Vegas, maybe 5% of our brides are actually from Vegas. So there's this big factor of like, what do I do with this like $300 bouquet? Like, I have to travel with this. And a lot of times they're going straight to their honeymoon right afterwards. And they want to save it for the keepsake, but it's just not feasible to like save this on vacation, like to air dry it, you know? And I was just always thinking like, there has to be a better way for this. There has to be something I can do for my brides. It started out like this was something I'm going to offer my clients. And I realized there's just a need for this in the Vegas market. And it's just kind of what I really want to focus on. So I just take my bride and now other brides' bouquets and I start the preservation process for them so they can go do what they came here to do, to go drink and have fun and be with your new husband and go on vacation, and you don't need to worry about bruising your bouquet or, you know, leaving it somewhere at the bar. I try to handle that for you.
Yeah. So actually tell us what your Instagram account is so people can go check it out and see photos of the items and videos.
Yeah, it's Little Little Lo Lo Floral, no underscores, nothing. It's just Little Lo Floral. And then our website is littlelofloral.com.
Perfect. Yeah. So I highly recommend going and checking out the stuff. Brittany's going to show us some of them on our Zoom call today, but give her a quick follow on Instagram and see some of the beautiful work that she's been doing. I actually shared your account with some of my team members and we were just like, whoa. I mean, there's so many questions.
Awesome.
They're so beautiful. And one of the questions actually that came up was how old of bouquet or florals can you actually preserve? One of my members actually had her wedding 7 years ago. That's why that's why she was asking.
You know, that's a popular question. So a lot of people don't realize when you look at like the ones on my Instagram, they're like big, they look like big fresh flowers. They are actually all dried. You cannot preserve anything in resin that's fresh, or it will over time get all moldy inside. It's just an organic matter. It can't thrive like that. So we actually dry them. So our drying process just saves their color and their shape. So the only difference with like an air dried bouquet is that it's already the color and the shape that it's going to be. We can absolutely still cast it and preserve it in resin. It's just I can't like make it look fresh again. Do you know what I mean? Our oldest bouquet I had a bride give me was, I think, like 13 or 14 years old. We can totally still cast those and preserve them. They're just very delicate. Oh my goodness. Like taking those bouquets apart are tedious, but it's obviously worth it because then you can display it proudly and not like, oh, it's hidden in a closet. I don't want my kid to like smash into it. You know what I mean? But yeah, we can absolutely still save them. I just can't manipulate the color.
Got it. Okay. So actually, let's talk about that. So
Yeah,
your drying process is different than just like hanging it. When I was in high school or whatever, I thought it was so fun to
upside down.
like upside down hang. I just had it all over. Like that was my thing. So
Yeah.
is your process different than that?
Yeah. So, when you buy like a new purse or a wallet, there's like a little packet of silica gel in there.
I'm always worried
Yeah.
about my kids eating it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to ingest it. That's for sure. I buy it bulk. I mean, I have so much silica gel and I place the flowers in it and like how I place it and like I can change their shapes and stuff when they're fresh. Having the silica gel supporting certain things or moving certain petals down. It's definitely like an art with it. But what the silica gel does is it just dehydrates it and we're able to save most of their color. There are a few different
Oh,
things, maybe like reds will still be red, but they're like a little darker. But for the most part, the color is totally still saved. And then that way we're able to cast them without them rotting from being organic and fresh.
that is so cool. Okay. So there's
Yeah.
one little thing. It's always best to get your bouquet preserved by the pro right away. If you don't have to, don't hang on to it for 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they still look really cool.
Y-
Some of them I've seen that have been air dried. I'm like, dang, these are like vibrant colors. Some of them, they look a little rough, but we can still work with them. We suggest though, if you want them to like look fresh, we need them within 48 to 72 hours after your wedding. Probably will be like half wilty, half alive. And unfortunately, we're not able to like make it look fresh again. At that stage, if it's like half dead, we would suggest you just air dry it and then we save it. So if you want like that vibrant, fresh, hot pink, we need it within 48, 72 hours.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of that, so do you have flowers that are easier to preserve than others, or is it?
Yeah. So, um, well, one thing we can't preserve succulents or cactus, and that is a big floral trend right now. Like
Mhm.
succulents are all in bouquets, but like the fake plastic, they look real, but they are fake succulents in with them. It's only a $10 extra charge. We can like replace those. Their water retention is crazy. Like there's just no way I can
Yeah.
maybe like 20 years where trying to dry that thing out, so we can't do succulents. I love like all the little tiny roses and baby's breath. There's ones that I definitely like to work with more versus others, like roses. Like big roses are such divas, but we're
Ah,
able to
that's also
we're
kind of
able
on
to
trend right
manhandle
now.
them. Roses I feel like are always going to be a trend. They're so classic, but roses are a little bit of a diva, but we get it done. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, I've seen so many beautiful things. I guess the one thing too that I was really surprised at, and I don't know why, but when I hear the word resin, I think yellow. And so I was so surprised that
Oh,
it's like
it's
clear.
clear.
It's it's so amazing. And I know that's, I'm probably thinking like, amber something. But yeah, that's what I hear when I hear the word resin.
Like it's a whole chemical process. So like in our care sheets when we send it back to you, ambering is a possibility in resin. It's just a natural process that can occur with it. Like if we want them displayed, but if you placed your block like right on a window that gets like direct harsh light every day, the heat can cause a chemical reaction which will start to kind of amber it. Not yellow. It still looks cool. I've seen them, but obviously we want clear as king. That's what we
Yeah.
want. So in our care sheet that we send out to our clients, like you don't want to like put it on a fireplace mantle that you like actually use this fireplace, or like right
Mm.
on a direct hot windowsill where you would like grow plants. You know what I mean? It can cause ambering over time. Like I said, looks cool, but it's not really what we're going for.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I have said this so many times, but I'm blown away by what
Oh,
you've
cool.
produced and what I've seen on your account. So super
Thank you
kudos to
so much.
you for,
Thanks.
kind of fixing something that you saw a need for and just diving
Yeah,
in. I mean, that's a
yeah,
big deal. Like you're already a busy photographer and you're like, man, I just really want to help some of my brides preserve these
yeah.
keepsakes.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do? And then I've become friends with florists out here just from being in this industry. And they're like, I don't even know like what to do. I always get these inquiries that are like, hey, what kind of shadow box do you suggest? And they're like, ugh, I don't want to see it in a shadow box. And I'm like, we gotta like fill this, you know what I mean? We gotta get this out in Vegas. We got to get this big, you know? And I'm really excited because there's been a ton of interest from it. It's going to be displayed at places like the Neon Museum and some chapels around town. And we're really grateful for the support. And it's been fun. It's been a learning process. It was kind of expensive in the beginning, a lot of trial and error from flowers from my garden, but we got it down. And now I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I love it.
Good. I mean, you have an artistic eye and I
Oh, thank
sense a
you.
very artistic and creative heart. So I think that that lends itself to this. I do want to ask
Oh,
you, how do you design them? I mean, they don't look like your bouquet, like in a bunch, the end product
yeah.
necessarily. I mean, they just look so good, so much better, in my opinion, in some ways. But how do you go about it? Like, what's your end result? Do you use the entire bouquet? Do you guarantee you'll use like
Yeah.
portions or what's your flow maybe?
So it all depends on like the size you order. Like our smallest is a 6 by 9, and then like a bride might
Mm.
give me a bouquet that's like massive, you know. I'm not a salesman. It makes me so uncomfortable, but I'm like, okay, you want a 6 by 9? Just a heads up, we don't use all of these flowers. What I do is I still dry out the whole bouquet and then I take a look at everything and I want to use the best rose, the best carnation, the best eucalyptus. I try to take like the best of each thing and fill it in that way. Some brides will express like in our website, you can put in the notes like of things that maybe you wanted, like jam pack this thing. I want it full of every single flower possible. And we try to do that. Or I have some that are like, I really like a lot of like negative space, minimal, clean, just use like one of each different flower and make
You do
it
you,
clean and
yeah.
minimal for me. So it all just really depends on the bouquet too, like how they preserved, how did the shapes come out? What I just really want it to look like the best possible scenario, you know? That
Yes.
means so much that you say it looks better. I always try to make it look like the bouquet as much as possible, right? That's what we're trying to save. But yeah, we just each
Uh,
one's so different.
yeah, it's meant to be a bit of an art piece. That's how I look at
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. I mean, that's what we try and say. Like, this is a one of a kind product. Like, sometimes we get like requests that, like, oh, I really want mine to look like this one that you posted. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll use that for inspo. But just a heads up, like, nothing ever looks the same. These are like, just like in photography, you can't show me an image on
Right.
Pinterest and be like, hey, reproduce that. And I'm like, well, you don't look like that. Like, I'm trying to, I can't completely duplicate it, but we definitely will take like inspo pictures and we want the bride to just be so stoked with it. That's our end goal.
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess people have to also trust you with your creative vision and kind of
Yeah,
knowing
huge.
what will look best with the
Final.
subject. Yeah.
We have an option on our website, like you just click like trust the designer, like myself or
Mm,
my husband's a big part of this too. And honestly, probably 99% of our clients select that. They're like, I don't know, we just want to save this, make it look pretty. I
mhm,
think once clients start to like really overthink it, it can kind of become overwhelming for them. Like when
mhm.
you're at a restaurant and the menu's like 80 pages and you're just like this is overwhelming. So I do like that 99% of our clients are really like, you know what you're doing.
Right.
Just make it look pretty, please. I want to display it in my living room, make it look cool. So that's
Yeah.
definitely what we try to do.
Yeah, I think that's true with anything. Well, we're both in the wedding industry, and when people start
Yeah.
like kind of digging in a little bit and maybe micromanaging the creator,
Mhm.
it really
It
can stifle the
stifles it.
yeah, it can really stifle the
Yeah.
process and the outcome a little
Yeah.
bit. So I guess that would be a tip for anybody that's looking to preserve a
Yeah.
bouquet, or honestly, hire a photographer or any vendor really.
Any vendor, just you hired them for a reason. Just remember that. I mean, with that being said, like I'm totally open to like, hey, I really like this type of design.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, of course. But you are totally right. I think once you get in your head, like, oh, can you move this flower a centimeter? You know, you're like, oh my goodness, like that's where it gets a little nitpicky. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get to lay it out and then you cast it? Do you ever share what you're doing first, or how does
Um,
that process work? Do you get like approval, or is it this
so
is
like
it?
I said, 99% of our clients are like, you do what you need to do. This is, they tell us, I want it full, I want it minimal, and we just go from there. I've only had that happen twice where they had requested to see what it would look like first, and we totally just shot them over a picture and they're like, great, go for it. You know, I think it just maybe gave them a bit of peace of mind, which is totally cool, you know. But like I said, like with how many we've done, seriously, maybe only 2 or 3 people have done that. So
Yeah.
it's, I know as we grow, that number will become bigger, and we'll figure out
Right.
logistics of how we can time management and get all that
Mhm.
in. That's just, you know, how it is a
Yeah.
part of growing a business, but we'll figure it out as it comes.
Cool. Yeah. Totally makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about some of like the hows. How does this work if you wanted to, preserve your bouquet? So, how do brides actually get you the flowers? Let's say they're not your
Yeah.
couple and they want to, they're one of our couples, for instance. How would they get you the
The first thing we do is you want to reserve your date with us online. Currently, we still are able to take on last minute, hey, my wedding was last night kind of situations. I'm not seeing that in the future being able to do that. Currently, we are. So if you're listening right now, reach out if your wedding was yesterday. But because we have dates reserved like into spring 2022, we're going to be taking on only 3 a day as of now because that's what my husband and I can manage. We're not quite crazy about the idea of hiring an assistant yet.
Mhm.
Because like I said, it is like an artistic thing. I don't want to like put my name on someone else's stuff. So we're taking on about 3 a day. What you would do is you just reserve your date with us online, and there's two options. You can either leave it at your hotel at the bell desk, you know, like by the front
Mhm.
concierge for a $75 pickup, and we will email you the instructions of what we need, and we pick it up the day after from the bell desk for that pickup fee. Or you can drop it off at our home studio, and we're located near the airport. So like 80% of people do that on their way out of town. They drop it off to us and catch their flight, and you would still reserve your date. You get an email with the address, a time frame of where we'll guarantee someone can be there to take them, and that's the first step. And then from there we take it and start the process of drying it and all the magic behind the scenes.
Right. What's a typical turnaround? I know you've had some issues with resin, but that seems to be all sorted out now.
There was like a little weird resin shortage here in the States, but I finagled my way around that with an amazing provider overseas. And the typical turnaround time, it's about 12 to 14 weeks because of that dry time. We have learned before we launched with just our garden flowers that if you rush it and like, okay, it looks dry and you put it in, it will rot. So the longest part of that is probably the dry time, which takes about 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks to get them properly dried, like those thick roses, you know, the insides.
Wow.
And then from there, it's just a matter of like waiting on the size mold that you selected to open up. But once your flowers are like laid in the mold, they're done in about a week and a half.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's poured, it's a couple layers. It's not just one big thick layer. We do a couple of layers, and they have to cure in between. You can't like pour wet on wet. It just is a nightmare. Chemical nightmare. So yeah, typical turnaround's about 12 weeks.
And that is if you've
12,
already
13 weeks.
scheduled, if you've had that appointment, it's not the last minute requests, I'm guessing.
Yes and no. We actually go based on the date that we
Mm,
have them. So it's not necessarily if they're a last minute client. It's definitely on dry times. That's what we go off of.
got
So
it.
like we do all of like the September brides together. All of the October brides will be together. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Because we can't really prioritize like if you have a reservation or not. because your flowers, they might not be dry yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, that makes total sense. Yep.
Yeah. So right now, yeah, we're still able to take on. Actually, I just had 2 drop-offs today. Like, oh, my wedding was last night, and I'm like, oh shoot,
Wow.
or we need these before you leave town, And they were able to drop it off, so that was awesome for both of us.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's been
So
so
cool.
fun. Do you want to see some samples?
Yeah, let's check out some samples.
Yeah, I have my smallest one right here. This is a 6x9. It weighs about 7 pounds, depending on the thickness of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, there's some glare. Can you see
Yeah, that's
that?
okay. Yeah, it looks
There we
great.
go. Yeah, but she's real thick.
Okay.
She's about 6 to 7 pounds, and those are all roses. Looks like a few carnations and eucalyptus in there. We just added this really fun letter for like your last name. This bride's last name is
Oh,
Matson, so she has.
that's cute. I think that's really a great
Yeah.
idea.
We have so many new products hitting the website this month too. Like we have like a big serving tray with like rose gold handles. Then we have like wine stoppers going, which is we had a bride custom order 10 of them because they're gifts to all of her bridesmaids. To
That's
like,
such a great idea.
yeah, thanks
How
for being a
unique.
part of it, and like wedding planners are like, oh, I want wine toppers, like little things, and they're gifting them to like the bridal party, or you know what I mean?
Such a good
Um,
idea.
I love it. And another popular one are our coasters. These are like
Mm-hmm.
popular to add on to. They're nice and thick and shiny.
The nice thing about these that you're showing, they're not just crap you picked up at a
I
store,
know.
you
Well,
know?
that's what this bride did. She was like, I guess her bridesmaids spent so much money, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's how it goes. And she's like, I just want to get them all like such nice stuff. And so she has like a nice big tray for her mother-in-law. Like she didn't actually even order anything for herself, I don't think. Like she has like a tray for her mother-in-law, all of these coasters for sisters, wine stoppers for bridesmaids. And I'm like, wow, you're a really nice friend.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm guessing that she was able to take even florals from the like her reception and some of the
Oh
decor to
yeah.
add to that. So that's one
Yeah,
thing to keep in
totally.
mind too. It doesn't just have to be your bouquet.
Yeah, it can be whatever. I was able, though, her bouquet was massive. And then like, the wine stoppers are not,
Yeah.
they're quite small. So we're able to make them stretch for these small ones. But we have people bring from like, I even get like funeral arrangements. Like I
Mm.
want to preserve, her favorite flower. We're able to preserve from any type of event. This is our most popular size. This is the 10 by 10. Oh,
Okay.
glare. Can you see?
Yeah, can see it.
She weighs like 12 pounds. Typical shipping for this, basically everywhere in the States, is 25 to $35.
Mm-hmm.
Florida is like $35 because it's so far, They're not, so it's not, for how heavy it is, I don't think that's bad for
No.
shipping. And then that way you have it forever, Yeah. That 10 by 10 is my favorite. I have 5 more molds of those coming because everybody's ordering the 10 by 10. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I gotta ramp up that process for those because I want the wait time for those to be a lot shorter. So we have
Mm-hmm.
new molds coming in.
That's cool.
I
Awesome.
know, I'm so excited.
So I know it sounds like you can create lots of different products. Can
Yeah.
you preserve things other than florals?
Yeah. Just had a request. I can't even think of what the heck it was now. I get a lot of like, when like a father or mother passed away and there would be like a charm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes brides will have those go inside of them. I
That
can
was one of
preserve
my questions.
anything. Yeah, you can totally preserve like those pendants. Sometimes though they like to have it on the outside with it. You can preserve like the ribbon inside of it. Some brides ask for that. If it doesn't look cluttery, too messy, we'll totally throw that in.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like plastic, like anything like that, anything that's not alive and can rot, I can totally throw that in there. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
gonna like mess with it. It's not gonna have like a chemical reaction to it because it's not organic.
got it. Okay. That's super
Yeah.
cool. I hope I didn't open up a can of worms for you on that question.
I know all these custom orders.
Like,
You know what? That's okay. Bring them on. I'm not scared. We'll figure it out. We got this.
yeah, yeah. And you kind of mentioned your husband. So he works with you in this part of your business?
Yeah. So at first, this was totally my thing. And I'm like, I'm going to add this on for my photography clients. And then COVID hit. And so he wasn't working for like a year and a half. He ran one of the casinos on the strip. So
Mhm.
it was dark, he wasn't working. And he's like, oh, I'll help you with this. And he actually has an art degree. And he was like, wait, this is like really cool. And then when my photography, because in summer's our slow time and then fall, as you know, gets slammed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm slammed with photography, but I don't want to stop doing Little Lo. He's like, oh, I'll help. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like basically surpassing me in this. He's so good at it. Like, he started off just like helping me mix, the tedious stuff, the
Mhm.
paperwork, the invoicing, stuff like that. And then it was like, oh, he's really good at this. He started helping me with do like flat lays and the designs. And yeah, we're pretty equal in it at this point. He's a huge help. And I see if this like blows up, he's probably gonna just run most of it for
Mhm.
me. And he's probably gonna be like the head honcho. I'll be working for him. He would love that. Oh, now
That's
he's gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, that's right."
we can
He's
edit that
so
part out,
talented,
Brittany.
though. Yeah, edit that out. He's okay. He does what I tell him to. Just put that in.
Well, that's awesome that you can also, do it as a family and,
Uh,
share that together. I think that's super cool. I
oh,
mean,
it's
it's
such a family affair. It is
yeah, resin, I mean, it can be applied if you know how to work with it. I'm sure it can be applied to lots of
a
mediums
lot.
and, all kinds
Yeah.
of cool stuff.
I've seen resin artists, like if you just search the hashtag resin art, like there is some crazy stuff out there. Like they make really cool stuff. They have these like cool wooden tables with like a resin design going through it. And that
Mhm.
actually gave us an idea. We're going to take our 10 by 10 block I just showed you, and we're going to attach legs to it. And we're going to make like a side table for it
Mm,
as an add on too. Like it's limitless. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like if you have the imagination, like you can do so much with it. It's going to be so cool. Like who wouldn't want like a cute little end table next to their bed or their favorite chair or whatever with your wedding bouquet instead of like in your crunchy dusty closet,
Yeah.
like that's so cool. I had this, like this was around when like I got married 10 years ago,
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool. Yeah, I don't even know what I did with my bouquet. So
I saved mine, but it is like crunchy and old and but at least it's out of the closet. It's like being displayed, but
so you
yeah,
did
my
yours.
thing, I did do my own. Yeah, it's 10 years old. It was these really dark purple roses. I love how it looks. It's right in my bathroom. I love it
Mhm.
on this big shelf, but of course I wish it was fresh, but it was 10 years old and I just love it so much though. And it's like so special when I see it, and
Yeah.
I saved some of the flowers that were sitting in my closet from like when my husband gave to our daughter when she was a baby. So
Mhm.
she has like a nice little block in her room, like, oh, dad gave me these, I'm like, gosh, when my grandpa passed away, I preserved some roses from his garden before like they sold the house, like,
Oh, that's so
yeah, like
special.
these are grandpa's like roses, you know what I mean? From the kids can have it one day. I want to make little necklaces out of it for them. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's what's kind of well, this is kind of cool and trendy right now. It's also they're keepsakes. And
it
there's
is.
not
You
a
can pass
lot
this
you
down.
can yeah, you can't necessarily keep a lot of things from your wedding other than photographs and honestly, digital imagery. I think there's going to be some backlash with all of us
Yeah,
using digital stuff. We don't not a lot of
yeah.
people print their photos. So this is like a real item from your wedding
Tangible
that
item that you can
yep.
pass down. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's a big deal, and that's it. Oh, man, I had this one bride who was local, which never happens. Her mom picked it up for her because she was at work, and she was almost in tears. This lady was so kind, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to like." She gets to pass this on to her kids one day. Like, thank you so much for doing this. And I'm like, thank you for giving it to me to do, like that's so special to me. Like, that's your first thought, like my grandkids get this, like, oh my
Right.
gosh, that's
Right.
crazy, and that puts a lot of pressure on me, but I'm like, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, it matters. I
Yeah,
think that there's so
it
much
matters.
even in a wedding planning situation or weddings in general, it's like very
Yeah.
materialistic in some regards or like about things. But this is like something that really is like for you and something that you
Yeah.
get to keep. And when everything else is all done, you still have this item and
Really
it
pretty,
will
like,
it will hold like a lot of those good memories. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
like
know.
this special day, you know what I mean? And like put like a photo of the wedding day in front of it. And it's just fun to relive. Like it's fun to relive in the highs of your marriage. And it's good to remind you in the lows of your marriage. Like it's okay.
Yep.
Look at how this still looks. Like it's gonna be okay, like
Yep.
it's just an important reminder, I think it's super special. It's sometimes I get reminders of how important this is. You know what I mean? Like as a photographer, I'll have clients tell me like, I'm so glad you got that photo of my grandpa. He
Hmm.
recently passed. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But also I'm glad I got to do that for you. And then like I preserved flowers from my grandpa's prized rose garden. And it's just like, oh, it's special. It lasts forever. It means something to you forever.
Right.
It's really cool to be a part of. It's really cool to be a part of. Life is short and I want
Yeah.
to remember everything.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's super true. And I think it's really important the work that you're doing. And it's also
No,
just so unique. Yeah. I mean, people want these photos. And I guess I don't have a lot of my personal wedding photos displayed. And I don't
I
see
don't either.
it's kind of weird, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
not
don't
not to
either.
discount our
Thinking about it.
photography businesses here, folks. That's not what we're doing.
I
But
love it. Please keep hiring me.
yeah.
But I'm just, yeah, I have all pictures of my kids printed out. I don't have, I
Yeah.
think I have like
As
one
time
of
goes
my
on,
wedding.
it's
Yeah.
all about your as real time stuff almost. Like
Yeah. Current
kids,
stuff.
you kind of like move it along. They're very important. You have your albums, you look at them. But yeah, this isn't something that's going to change necessarily? So I think that's
Right.
pretty cool.
I mean, I know everything has their moments to shine, right? Like shadow boxes were huge for a long time, but it's just so minimal and clean and just like
Right.
fresh looking, and it just makes like a difference. I love seeing my own personal one in the bathroom. I'm like, gosh, it's just so sweet. I remember when he gave it to me, it just like
Yeah.
sends you down memory lane. It's just fun to just little reminders there here and there,
Yeah. I think
because
that's
you're
great.
right, people don't print their images. That's kind of a bummer.
It is a
As a
bummer.
photographer, I'm like, print your images, dude. You spent a lot of money on these.
Yeah, print them and
Show
do something with
those,
them.
do something with them. Gosh, yeah, it'd be kind of cool if you like put an image like, from your wedding inside of one of these. Maybe that could be kind of cool to like. Well, it might get cluttery. I don't know. We could play around with that. That's a cool idea
Hmm.
to print your images and maybe save like a little wallet size in one. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be
Little
unique.
reminder.
Or, if you had frames, like resin frames that could go.
Yeah, like real thin photo frames. That could be something cool. We're working on right now getting a custom mold for a photo album. So like the
Oh,
cover would
yeah.
be your bouquet, and then like obviously the inside's the photographs. It's hard to just get custom molds
Yeah.
made. They're quite expensive. Like the one for the tray, it just arrived. It's from Spain. It was like crazy expensive. So it's like getting this custom stuff. It just takes time. But that is something on my list. I want a photo album, and then the cover
Hmm.
is like your flowers. It started because my daughter requested we make a diary for her with flowers, and so she could have like write in her little diary. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should do something else with that. That's really cool. You're on to something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. I think that
Yeah.
what I hear is that the sky's the limit on ideas and how you can use these and what you can use them
Yeah.
for and products. And wow, good for you.
Thank you. It's definitely like a outlet for us. When you truly enjoy something, you're just like, oh, what else can I do? I want
Yep.
to make little necklaces, and I want to make a little ring box, and I want to make candle holders, and I just have so many ideas. But I'm like, okay, wait, let's do one thing at a time.
Yep. Makes
It'll
total
come in
sense.
God's timing. Yeah,
Makes
it'll get
sense.
there.
Yeah.
Right now we have 7 or 8 products on the website that you can order from. But yeah, monthly there seems to be new stuff popping up. I
That's
can't help
cool.
it.
I know, right? Well, I think that you did Such an
Oh,
awesome
awesome.
job. Is there anything that you would like to share that I didn't maybe mention? Actually, I would love if you could share your photography Instagram account and then also reshare your Instagram account for Little Lo Floral. And
Oh yeah.
anything else you'd like to add?
No, just shoot us a DM or email if you have questions. I know that's kind of a lot of information to take at once, and you're like, wait, what'd you say about ordering and reserving a date? Just shoot us a DM. One of
Yeah.
us will respond to you, within the day. The Instagram is Little Lo, Lo Floral. There's no W, it's German. And then my photography Instagram is Brittany Lo _photo. I have a link in the both of my bios that connect to each other, and reach out through either account. Honestly, we're an open book. If you have any questions, if you're confused about placing your order, someone on the team is here to help you figure it out, because we want to save these for you too.
Cool. That sounds so good. Oh, there is one thing. So watch out. Brittany and I might do a little giveaway of some sort.
Yep.
So stay tuned. Kind of keep your ears and eyes open on our Instagram accounts. We might have a little giveaway in order for one of her products. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's a lucky winner, but I suppose I'm biased. I can't wait. Let's see. I love it.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Brittany.
Of course. Thank you.